Welcome back, everybody, to another Odyssey 40k video. My name's Chris, and in this video, we are going to be talking with John Mclachlan. He is a good friend of mine, Team South player, Team WTC player now, been a coach multiple years for Team WTC. How you doing, mate? Team New Zealand for WTC?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm excited.
Yep, awesome. So this kind of interview series that I'm doing is going to be kind of just getting to know the competitive 40k players in New Zealand. We've done one against Kier, which will be probably linked at the end of this video. Who was talking about one of the kind of up and coming players who's in the last couple of years really kind of showing his chops a little bit, which has been really interesting. But I wanted to talk about someone that's a bit more ingrained in the competitive scene, been in it for a little bit longer. Definitely most of the competitive side of people in New Zealand will probably know your name. So it'd be kind of interesting to see, what makes you the competitive player that you are. So I think the best place to start is, where did you start with 40k?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, well, I mean, 40k for me started properly when I hit university, but before that, at intermediate school, I had a couple of mates who had some miniatures, and they were 40k miniatures, and they would play games, and I would basically sit on the side, like a sneaky little child, and watch them, and just go, "Oh, that looks cool, that looks exciting," and it kind of dropped out of my mind for a long time. And then once I'd left school, and I'd got a bit of work, went to uni,
Yep.
and one of my friends who was doing his PhD at the time, um, I was working for him at a sleep clinic, and he said, "Oh, look, I don't have time to play with these miniatures and to paint them. Here, was this something you'd be interested in?" And he basically loaned me a full Dark Vengeance box set,
Oh,
6th
nice.
edition.
Yeah.
This was at the end of 6th, start of 7th.
Yep.
Um, and so I went, "Oh my goodness, this is Warhammer. I've seen this." And I started playing. He said I could paint bits of his stuff. So I, did my first practice painting. And within about 3 months, I decided, no, I want my own army.
Yeah.
I want to do this myself. And I, built up a bit of money, and I went, look, I can do it now. I'm,
Yep.
you know,
Nice.
stable enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, And I remembered that one of the guys at the intermediate school had played these bug creatures. So I had loved the look of them, and I'd loved the bits that I'd been told about them.
Mhm.
So I went, look, I'm going to pick up Tyranids. So I did. And my first set was I bought a naively a fine cast resin hive tyrant, um, and 10
Brutal.
termagants,
Yeah.
and that was my start.
Yeah.
Uh,
What a trial by fire to start with.
Yeah, that was the first model I assembled, and I'd been told, "Here, have this plastic glue, it'll be great." And
Oh.
it wasn't working, and I could never get it to stick.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, mate.
and then I realized, yeah. So that was my start. And I played for a while in the Christchurch scene,
Mhm.
and went to my first tournament within the year.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yep.
and I vividly remember my first tournament games, like every game in the tournament. It's a 5 round kind of GT style tournament
Yep.
with a couple little twists. Um, and I won 4 of my games. To be fair, my first round had been paired into someone else who was having their first tournament
Cool. Yep. Yep.
purposefully. So we had a first round, and I won that. And then I don't think I scored high enough, so I probably just submarined through it. But that kind of ignited. I mean, I've always been a very competitive person, but that
Mhm.
ignited my passion for then competitive 40k. And now this was back in basically the start of 7th edition, or like kind
Right.
of start to mid 7th.
Yep.
Um, and I was definitely not very good, and I was especially rubbish at painting. And Christchurch tournaments have a large portion of your score as paint score, like up to
Yep.
maybe 35-40% of your score.
Right. Okay.
Um, So I never placed very highly
Mhm.
for quite a while.
Yep.
Um, I guess uh, until about 2018.
Mhm.
Um, so this is like a few years later.
Yep.
I'd played a bit. We'd had 8th edition,
Mhm.
um,
kind of the craziness of 7th edition was over, full reset. So
Yeah.
quite a kind of new feeling game at that point as well. Because I got back into the game in 8th edition, and it definitely was like from what I played when like 5th and 6th, which is when I kind of left. I was like, wow, this game feels really different, but it also still felt really good. So it was like, you know, so it was kind of an interesting kind of jump.
Yeah, 8th edition provided kind of a piece of structure that I could build like a competitive understanding of.
Mm.
And it was like, everyone's starting fresh. I can build my knowledge from there. And I mean, the core mechanics of like 8th edition stuff still sort of exist today in 10th, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the same, generally the same ideas.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and so I won my first tournament.
Awesome.
And I remember I was playing 20-man Gene Stealer bricks, running them around, double moving with the Swarm Lord.
Oh, oh yeah.
It was a good time. And
Yeah.
that was my uh, the first time I played against a couple of other like really good players and also
Yeah.
Team New Zealand applicants currently,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Alex Cameron or people like that. It
Right.
was my first time kind of playing against them, and I had a great time there. And I decided, hey, this is for me. And just started playing more and more tournaments,
Awesome.
trying to get to as many as I could.
Yeah. It's
Then that
definitely a
kind of
struggle when you're like in the South Island, like I am now, and obviously you are. Like, there's a few tournaments around the place, but like coming from me when I was living in Rotorua, it was still a couple of hours drive, but a couple of hours drive to pretty much every tournament that I wanted to. Whereas now it's, you know, you get the odd like convenient tournament, but majority of the time you're flying for an event, right? Which definitely does
yeah, and
change the
I mean,
dynamic.
one thing I will say about the Christchurch scene is that it's got some really passionate people behind it that
Mm,
have built some amazing narrative events, so like incredible stuff.
yeah.
We've had, over the years, so many different people have come and gone and created all these different ideas. I mean, the classic is like Donkey Kong with Chris Wilson. It's
Hmm.
everyone brings a Donker Beast miniature, and it's great, and it's wackiness. And in like the last kind of 5 years or so, uh, Connor has put some amazing work in to make some really, really, really cool events.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to probably go to a couple this year because I haven't been in a bit,
Awesome. Yeah.
uh, but there has been kind of a lack of like really kind of GT style events.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I started winning more and more. I was just getting more games, playing with more people, branching out into other groups, um, and that kind of crowned in about basically right at like kind of the end of 8th, start of 9th, um, like around 2020-ish, when I went to my first Masters. And
Awesome.
for
Yeah.
people, I guess, I don't know if you've talked about Masters before on your channel, but
No, no.
Masters was an event that we had in New Zealand, uh, that was run by Pete Dunn. Um, and he did that for many years. And the Masters I went to was actually the last official one
Mm.
because he retired. Fair enough, been doing it for
Yeah.
a long time.
It's a lot of
Um,
work running an event like that as well.
yeah, and collecting all the data from tournaments all over New Zealand, and basically the top kind of 16 to 20 players would be
Mm.
invited
Yeah.
after each year.
Mhm.
And that was when I got my first kind of view into the competitive scene in New Zealand because I hadn't seen it outside of Christchurch.
Right. Yeah.
So like I went there. My first game was against Hayden Corrich, uh,
Awesome.
and yeah, it was a really cool experience because I lost I believe 75-72 or something, and it was
Brutal.
but
Yeah.
I was feeling like I could play more, and that got me excited, meeting all these other people that are obviously well established in like the Auckland scene or
Mhm.
anywhere else. And so that made me go, okay, well, uh, what's next?
Mm.
And next for me was teams.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So that was like the
Uh,
next level. Like, okay, like you're confident in yourself as a player now, and like, cool. How can I express this even more? And I feel like teams is the natural kind of progression, right? Like
yeah,
you kind of earn your chops as a singles player often, and then you kind of, well, especially in the past like 5 or so years actually, because teams hasn't been as prevalent, right? So you kind of had to earn your chops playing singles because there was maybe one teams event a year. Now there's 4 or 5. Like we're kind of like
Yeah.
really lucky that we get like multiple 8-man teams events and we get fives. That like I know players now that have started their first tournament was a teams event, which was for me I was like that's mad,
Crazy.
which is awesome. Like it's an amazing way to like get into 40k, and I'm sure both of us love teams more than we probably do singles. Singles, to be fair though, one thing I will say about singles is it is nice to kind of like just play for yourself every once in a while. Like you don't have the pressure of like, oh, like if you're like an attacker and trying to get big scores, like the pressure of doing that, or whatever it might be. Sometimes when you play singles, I had one singles event last year, and I was like, when I went there, I was like, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm just playing for me. Like it was quite nice, but
Yeah.
I still think if I had to choose to go to an event, it would always be a teams event.
Yeah, definitely the
Yeah.
same. And I mean, like, this was of course heading into COVID,
Yeah.
and this was also when the like European team champs turned into the World Team Champs kind of
Yep.
around-ish this area.
Yep.
And then Australia sent a really good team in uh 2022
Mm-hmm.
and won. Um, but like yeah, so going into 2021, um, uh, I gathered my local group. Um, Alongside a couple of other players, and we were kind of a little separate from the Christchurch Wargaming Club, and so we'd started our Plastic People Gang group, which was I mean it started as a friend group and
Mm-hmm.
just who were just playing Warhammer for the sake of it,
Yeah.
and turned into a slightly bigger thing, but it's still very much a friend group.
Yeah.
Um, and so we went as Plastic People Gang to the 2021 New Zealand Team Champs, uh, and we came second.
Awesome.
And this was just as I say, a bunch of goobers from Christchurch just going playing 40k.
Yeah.
Uh, we had some, definitely got some good players like Alex Taus and Hugh,
Yeah.
and then I was coming through, and then we had a couple of other
Yeah.
players who have since been and gone to Australia, New Zealand team champs, and other things.
Awesome. Yeah.
And so we were like, all right, this is us. So we did again in 2022, and we got second again.
Oh,
I'm like, oh,
heartbreak.
this,
Good consistency though.
to different teams each time as well.
Yeah.
Like we that time we beat the team that beat us last time, but we lost to Kraken who were playing that time, who weren't
Right.
playing the time before.
Yeah.
Um, and so that started building, and then it came to 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of 2022, I vividly remember like Nairi came up to me at New Zealand Team Champs and said, "Hey, look, Steve, Joel, and I are going to put together a team to go to the World Team Champs. Uh, do you know anyone who's interested?" And I went, "Oh, I am.
Yeah.
I loved this already." Um, we'd already been in talks to start prepping New Zealand South for NZTC 2023.
Right. Yep.
That we had because New Zealand hadn't sent a team, at least from South, there for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were in chats with like Simon Smith from Wellington and so on, who were real keen to, you know, get it going again, and eventually pass the torch over to us. And we took a team entirely of Christchurch players in
Right.
2023.
Yeah.
And some of us did all right, but unfortunately we came dead last.
That was for
Um,
ANZTC, correct?
that was yes, that
Yeah.
was for NZTC.
Yeah.
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 Um, but then we built the first Team New Zealand to go to the World Team Champs,
Yeah.
um, and that and so I went and played in Belgium,
Amazing.
and
Yeah.
that was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And that's where I met like Dave Gaylard and met
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of other like players from other countries who
Yeah.
are
Yeah. It's an amazing
really into the
experience.
competitive game. Yeah, and
Yeah.
playing over there, like when the round we played against Belgium, I got to play against Alex Sacco, who's currently playing for Team France,
Yeah.
and that's one of my favorite games that I've played because not only like to me it was kind of the pinnacle of what I was playing skill wise, because I could tell he was getting frustrated because my job was to blunt him,
Right.
and blunt him I did. Um, but I also remember forgetting to shoot a biovore on one turn, which would have been a whole differential point for the fixed secondaries that I'd taken. I
Oh,
was just out of
yeah,
it and completely forgot to shoot.
yeah.
Um, and so that was a whole differential point, and then we drew them 85-75,
Oh
and we would have won.
no.
And I mean, I still carry that with me, but
Yeah.
I know people have said
Yeah.
that doesn't matter.
And
Anyone can drop points,
yeah, exactly. And
but
it's a team, right? You win as a team, you draw as a
yeah,
team, you lose as a
exactly.
team. It's no like you might point fingers at the time, half of the time because it's
Yeah,
funny, but like it really isn't actually any one person's fault, right? Like everyone does
yeah,
their part.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have some I have so many great memories and stories from then. Playing Scotland, playing Chris Irvine on his
Yeah.
custodies,
Yeah. He's been
and
on a tear now as well.
he's going
Yeah.
amazingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used Shadow in the Warp, and every single unit that he had on an objective failed, and he just like walked away, and I was like, oh
Hell yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, amazing.
These kinds of things that
Yeah.
you meet all these people and you play a lot. So that was 2023.
Hmm.
In 2024, I took a little bit of a back seat because I had another trip for something else.
Hmm.
So I didn't apply to the WTC team.
Yep.
Um, and but still went to ANZTC, took Unending Swarm,
Awesome.
loved it. Always loved playing my Tyranids. It's very much the kind of movement board control play style. Not necessarily consistent damage. At some points in history, it has been,
Yeah.
but often it's tricksy things. It's manipulating objective control, that kind of thing. That
Yep.
really vibes with me. Um, and we had a good run as NZ South there, and
Yep.
then it's kind of, and that was also well, 2023 was the year where our Plastic People Gang team won New Zealand 10 champs.
Yes. Yeah. You
So
skipped
we came
over that.
second and first. Yeah,
Yeah.
I skipped over that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
second and first. And then 2024, we came third.
Mm.
Um, we've had slight team changes as we've gone, but it's been
Yep.
different people can attend, different people can't. But I think that 2023 win was my favorite because it was with some of the guys who are now like you know the they don't feel like they're good enough to play
Mm.
like in for NZ Souths or anything, or they don't necessarily want to.
Yeah.
Um, but I always just remind them that hey, we won it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
You know,
So it's
that's the
yeah. And that's the pinnacle of teams is when you do win, you win as a team, right? Like, and it's just like you have these like people to like win with. Like when you win a
yeah,
singles event, it's still nice. Don't get me wrong. Like you're stroking your own ego, but when there's like seven other people that you get to like bask in that win with, it just feels so much better.
yeah. I don't know if you remember from that 2023 NZTC when we played your team, and you played Alec Whittaker on
Oh
in our
yeah,
Space
I
Marines.
was playing Tau and he was
Yeah,
playing CSM. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He went on an absolute tear
Yeah.
that tourney.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it was that kind of built up to then heading into 2025, which was I applied for the New Zealand team again.
Hmm.
I unfortunately didn't make the playing team, but I went as a coach,
Yep.
which I think is a good experience to do once.
Yep.
If I'm being honest, it has its ups and downs,
Hmm.
but you get to really see the 8-man team's experience from the outside,
Hmm.
um, and you learn a lot about. And I mean, I've been doing a lot of pairings and matrix analysis for a while for NZ South
Yep.
and for a Plastic People Gang team, um, but for WTC 2025, that was where I really started seeing the light of like how pairing should work.
Yeah.
Um, and I got to go play in Alpine Sprint and War Master
Oh,
beforehand,
awesome. Yeah.
and play some amazing people. Like I played Kuba Dare from Team Poland,
Cool.
first round of War Master.
Hell, what a
I
start.
well, I was his only loss, so I
Hell
felt
yeah.
pretty good about beating him.
Yeah.
But and then I played Space Wolves 3 times, you know,
Yeah.
which wasn't that,
Yeah,
which
which is
wasn't
definitely a
easy
vibe.
for the old
Yeah,
tunnel bugs.
yeah.
Four-wound Terminators everywhere. Um, but it was really cool, and it's made me want to go again.
Yep.
So of course I've applied again, going for this year. I should probably mention NZTC podium 4 times in a row did get cut off in 2025. We came fourth by 1 point,
Yeah.
so we're gonna come back in 2026 and podium
S-
again.
Still some
Um,
pretty good stats though, like,
ah,
second, first,
First, third, yeah,
third. Yeah,
and
it's
then
like,
it
yeah.
was just uh, part of it. I think is the transition to 8 mans.
Mhm.
Was tougher. We didn't have the pool of players to dip
Yeah.
into. We brought a couple newer players who they honestly they had an amazing time. Um, One of our Tyranid player, because I didn't play Tyranids that one because we had
Yep.
a newer player who only played Tyranids, Nick, and he's a hero. He came in his first outside Christchurch tournament. He'd been playing for like a year, less maybe. First round, he plays Finn Decker,
Yeah.
Team New Zealand captain, and he doesn't lose 20-0. He loses 19-1.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
proud of him.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
second round, he played Jonty
Yeah.
and got 20.
That's
But his
Yeah. What a crazy start to an event though. Like, first out of city event and you play two of the pretty strongest players in New Zealand. It's like rough.
and yeah, and it was really cool to see him kind of bounce back from that. He was like stoked that he scored a point. I think his name still in our chat is 1 Point Wonder. Uh,
Good.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was pretty incredible. And like, some of these newer players who just want to get involved,
Yeah.
honestly, in teams events like that are the best way to. And I mean, winning is something, and I always like winning. I'm a winning person. I
Yeah.
like that. Um, but the key is that enjoying the event and enjoying playing the game that is part of your hobby is the biggest part.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
and playing with the miniatures you've lovingly painted, cared for, playing with the people you care about.
Yeah.
It's
That's
the
definitely
best
the
part.
most important part. Yeah. It's the game kind of in teams is weird. The game kind of falls to like second or third. It's like you're hanging out with your friends. You kind of have that kind of like bond that you get as a team, especially like midway through a tournament when like you start having the games to talk about, and it's not just like 1 or 2 games. You're talking about 8 games times how many how many rounds you've played. It's like it becomes like exponential really quickly, and like it's like I only lost by 4 points, but that's still a good thing because you won the round or something. Like losing doesn't have as much of a negative emphasis as it does in like singles. So like there's a lot more to
Yeah.
like, prop each other up
I
with.
mean, even when your teammate comes up to you and goes, "Oh man, I just got 20'd,"
Mm,
and this happens, this dice roll went bad, or like
yeah.
I made a mistake, I put this in the wrong place, and then
Yeah.
they saw it and went for it, and having that come up to you, it's like, oh, that sucks, for the team, that sucks for the person,
Mm,
but you still get to keep playing as a
yeah.
team,
Yeah.
uh, and that's the part that I think these like Australian New Zealand team champs. Now that I've been to 3,
Mhm.
and we'll be going to the fourth one this year, and WTC going to my third one this year.
Yep.
Um, I mean, second one as a player, but third one
Yeah. Yeah.
overall is quite. It exacerbates isn't really the wrong. Enhances
Mm,
the experience of playing with a team,
yeah.
because not only, especially for me, because being a very competitive person, I get to play with a team, but also play to win, and playing with a team that also wants to win. And
Yeah.
that's like the, not saying my plastic people game team doesn't want to win, because we sure do want to win, but it's
The stakes are
uh,
higher,
like
so then
yeah,
like
the
there's more
stakes
to
are higher.
win.
Yeah, it joins together.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, that's kind of my
Mm,
my full like tournament experience.
yeah. One thing we did kind of brush over is you did make the 2026 playing team for WTC Team New Zealand. So congratulations on that, because that is very cool. When I saw that news, like I was like on the Discord, I was very hyped. So I was very excited for you. So congratulations for
Yeah,
that.
thank you, Chris. Yeah,
Mm,
I'm very excited. Dave's a great captain because
mm,
he's like he he wants to win, and he's going to push everyone to the point where we're going to have. I mean, I will say I was a little worried about this year because we last year we had a bunch of Team Kraken in, and basically
Hmm.
no one applied from that, and
Yep.
from like Auckland, that kind of previously competitive group this year. That,
Hmm.
uh, but it's already looking pretty positive.
Yep.
And Dave's been really positive with the selection process, giving good feedback to players, and getting involved a
Yeah.
lot, which is awesome.
Awesome. Now that's what you want
Because
to see.
yeah, yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Um, it's growing the wider team as well, not just selecting a playing eight.
Hmm.
It's like having a wider team who are willing to put in effort and play. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's also what I enjoyed as a coach last year, was going to like the practice weekends and just like picking up an army and being like, well, now I've got to play it against my own team. And I mean,
Mm.
one of the funniest things that happened was one of the practice weekends, our scrim team, who are 8 players who weren't the coaches plus a few other kind of recruits from Auckland.
Yeah.
Uh, we played the United Nations team lists, and we did a full scrim against Team New Zealand, and we beat them, uh, which was kind of awkward. Um, but it was like, well, what can we learn from that, and where
Yeah.
do we go from there? That's the um, the best part of having a stronger, wider community is you get those opportunities
Yeah.
to learn rather than just having this kind of echo chambery
Yep.
thing.
And the more people you get better and include in the community, the entire level of the community will be raised up. So then your selection pool becomes more more exciting. There's more options to have, and then the more it kind of grows as an exciting thing to go to, like WTC. Like obviously, there's a huge cost involved with New Zealanders traveling to Europe for 2 weeks to play Warhammer. So like the more like publicity we can give it out, and like the excitement and the intrigue and stuff and all the fun things, like the stories that you've said, like the players that you got to play, it's amazing, and the experiences you got to have from being over there multiple times. There's like those are the things that people kind of miss. They just see the games, like they just see the live streams, whereas like there's actually a lot more to it. Like um Oliver Johnson, he's one of my best friends now. I met him as he was one of the coaches for Team Australia with the year that I went, and we just ended up just chatting constantly, and now we're just like best buds, So like that wouldn't have
Yeah,
happened if we both didn't go there, right? So it's like there's
yeah,
a lot
exactly.
of other stuff.
It's Yeah, like I mean, I love Ollie. Yes,
Yeah.
I got to play him one NZTC, and we were playing Purge the Foe, and we talked together, and we basically decided that the person who was going to like go in first, we both had armies that wanted to just go in.
Yep.
The person who was going to go in first was actually just going to lose on
Right.
Purge the Foe because
Yeah.
of the dynamics of the matchup.
Mhm.
So we just kept trading tiny little bits throughout the game, and then because he went second, he won by a few points, and that was it.
Yeah.
And we just kind of chilled out the whole game. It's great.
Yeah.
Um, but it's the people that you meet. I mean, one of my favorite things from last year's WTC was actually collecting dice from every country that had their own dice.
Yeah.
So I was trading away, and I've got a full collection
Nice. Yeah.
of all the possible ones. So I have those in a little display cabinet
That's
in my room.
impressive. Yeah. I have a bunch. I just have them in my dice bag. I need to get like cohesive dice because my dice bag is now just an absolute diabolical mess. But the issue is there's like 20 that were a set that are just in there now. So it looks really bad. But like it is really fun when you can like pull out a dice and it's like, the Polish team dice and you get to roll that. I do kind of like, because it kind of brings back those memories every once in a while. It's like, that's quite cool. It's
Yeah,
quite fun.
exactly. I mean, I thought about that, but my the organizational part of me tells me I should just have my Plastic People Gang and Team New Zealand dice, and that's
Yeah.
it. Uh,
That it's
but
also easier for
but
people to see. So like I get it. Yeah.
yeah, no. So that's yeah. I guess that's kind of my history with competitive
Yeah.
40k.
So
I
then
I should
mine.
clarify.
Yeah. Okay,
Most
you go.
sorry, most of the time I played Tyranids.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
should clarify that. I've had a couple of bigger tournaments where I've played other factions, but it's
Hmm.
almost entirely been Tyranids.
Yeah. So that was kind of my next question is like obviously you got drawn into Tyranids, you loved the models, which is the best way to start a faction, hands down, because you need to be able to build them. You have to want to build them. You have to want to paint them to be able to play them. So if you don't like the models, it's going to be really hard to get them to that stage. So definitely like, seeing something and being like, that's really pretty. That's how I got back into 40k is I always wanted a Tau army and I was living in the UK at the time and I was like, well, it's actually really cheap. I'm just going to buy like 5-star collecting boxes and just build and paint it all because I just wanted to have the army. And then I was like, oh, they still play competitive? Cool. Let's get into this. So that was kind of how I got into it. But obviously you're pretty like for the vast time that I've known you, you've basically been a Tyranids player. But in the recent, I wouldn't say year, probably a bit longer than that, I've seen you like definitely like dive out to a lot more different factions. Why were you on Tyrants for so long, and why recently have you kind of branched out to more factions?
Well, I guess the reason why it's Tyranids for so long is mainly actually um, money for a physical army, right?
Fair.
It's like I have a collection of about 16,000 points of Tyranids, probably about 12,000 of which are painted now,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always gone, oh, I could get another army, but then it feels like a big investment,
Mm.
and you know, life is life. I'm still a student. Like
Yeah.
I am doing a PhD at the moment. It's all very like I've been
Yep.
studying for
Yeah.
for 10 years. It's it's a long time, and I
Yeah.
jump between degrees and all sorts.
Sure. Yep.
But I did get a little bit of Eldar back, like kind of into seventh, start of eighth,
Yep.
and was enjoying that for a little bit. And that kind of took a back seat, and I didn't really know how to paint them.
Mm.
And then I got some Harlequins,
Mm.
and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be my display army." So I have like nearly 1,000 points of Harlequins, about half of which are painted like nicely. Like
Yeah.
I got an airbrush and
Yeah.
started learning how to do that.
Awesome.
And then I've also got like 2,000 points of Corn Demons,
Oh yeah.
and a fun. But uh, I don't really play many other armies in person because it involves a lot of proxying, right?
Sure. Yep.
So I mean, getting into Tabletop Simulator really helps
Yes.
that.
Yep.
Um, and having played Tyranids for a long time, I consider myself decent with them. I'm pretty comfortable with even between uh, data slate changes or even addition changes,
Yep.
whole codex changes. The general vibe I tend to just be able to link with it and pick it up,
Yep.
which has been kind of nice. But in the I guess I played like my first ANZTC
Mhm.
in 2023. I played Iron Hands because we had nobody who was going to do it,
Right. Yeah.
and they were very good. And I went, look, I'll do it, and I had zero practice.
Right.
And I just went, all right, cool. I'm playing an army I've never played. I've basically only played Tyranids up to this point.
Yep.
And like I did okay, but it was a really broken army, and I should have done a lot better, and I
Sure.
wasn't
Yeah.
happy with it. Realistically, Iron Hands was so broken at that point. This was with like the character Contemptor Dreadnought that was doing
Ah. Yeah. Yeah.
ridiculous things, and also when Desolation Marines turned up,
Hell yeah.
uh, and um, I should have done a lot better. Um, so
So that was the
at
kind
that
of where
point,
you started branching out to different
well,
factions.
that was when I realized that maybe I can only play Tyranids. Maybe this is all I'm good at.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I kind of went back to them for a while, did well with them in like the
Hmm.
next year or so, kind of 23, 24.
Hmm.
And then they went, well, actually, um, I can play other armies on Tabletop Simulator and try them. And
Yep.
I can play other people, and I'm starting to, meet more people in the community
Hmm.
um, and just play better. And I went, my skills on the tabletop shouldn't be limited to just what Tyranids can do. It should be a more holistic game view. And
Mm.
I mean, this is something that I would say basically all competitive players do at some point. Is they learn multiple game plans.
Yep.
Like they don't just have a straightforward game plan. This is the army that I play. These are the 2,000 points I own, and I play this, and it works sometimes.
Yep.
Um, it's having that flexibility to change what you're doing, to play a completely different type of army. Um, but not only for your own benefit of like, now I can play this army, but also knowing what your opponent can do within an army.
That's huge.
So
Yeah.
the biggest thing that I find with like playing people and in 40k, it just in general
Mm.
is how much they know about the game.
Yep.
And I've always had a good memory, so like I can rattle off stat data sheets from all sorts of stuff, and like
Yeah.
um, and know all these strats and all these possibilities and calculate all that. But the thing that really opened my eyes to what other people can do with their armies is just playing other armies.
Mhm.
See, it was kind of like end of 2024, yeah, that I went, nah, I'm gonna show that I can actually. And this was also, applying for the 2025 WCC team as
Yep.
well. I went, well, I'm going to try and show that I can play other factions. I'm not just locked to Tyranids, because in teams having that flexibility is really big when you're
Yep.
selecting a team before you're selecting your factions.
Mhm.
Um, so I did. So I started just trying things. So I played more Eldar. I dove into World Eaters.
Yep.
I played some like Awakened Dynasty Necrons.
Ooh, okay.
Um, Yeah, I mean, I went and played a Wellington Teams tournament the end of last year with them. That
Yep.
was kind of interesting.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, like basically any army that I can get my hands on, I will play now.
Mhm.
Um, and that's why I'm still actively trying to spread out and play
Yep.
other things. I played the Corn detachment for Corn Demons for a while, even when it wasn't the best detachment.
Yeah. Yep.
It's that was kind of fun trying different things. Um, and then building up for WTC 2025, being able to flex between factions to give reps to people
Yeah,
who
of
are on the playing
course.
team
Yep.
was really, really, really big,
Yep.
and not being locked to that. Some factions I still find, you know, they're not really my thing to play. Um, Stuff like knights of both flavors. I don't like having too few pieces. Coming
Right.
from playing Tyranids,
Yeah.
even when you're playing Monster Mash, you still have a lot of little stuff running around.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, And I mean, I played a little RTT here in Christchurch with Imperial Knights, and I mean, I won it, but like it was, I didn't feel comfortable playing them.
Yeah.
Um, and I felt like if I'd been playing against top level players like at ANCTC or WTC, I would have just reamed
Yeah.
because I didn't quite understand the dynamics of it. But then again, it helped learn the dynamics of knights,
Yep.
and what knight players are looking to do with each activation, and
Mm.
how they're managing their resources and that kind of thing.
Yeah. It is really interesting how like different players, like because I have quite a few friends that play have different very varied play styles. And we like try and like focus on one of us for a list. But then they have these like creature comfort. It's like, well, I can't go under like 14 units, or whereas like I play Space Marines a lot, and like often you only have like 10 units because that's just kind of how Space Marines play. And I was like, 14? That's bad. Why do you need so many? But then then you have like Tate playing like GSC, and he has like 18 units, and he's like, I can't go under 16. It's like, oh, okay. So just because like the creature comforts that you get used to, and like it also kind of forms your play style to a degree as well. And you kind of not in dependency, but it's like you like these tools, so you try and add them into your lists. So then when you try and jump from like Tyranids or Gene Stealer Cult to something a bit more elite, like say like Custodes, and you'll notice that the first time they would make a list, it'll have like 4 or 5 units of like Sisters of Silence in it because they just want these extra pieces. And I was like, we actually probably only need like 2 of those, but like it's just real
Yeah,
funny.
exactly. I mean, and I guess a similar thing kind of extends to like play styles of different archetypes. Like
Mm,
whether an army is going to play what we like call honest warhammer.
yeah,
Like how many tricks does it have? What kind of tricks does it have? Reactive moves? Does it
yeah,
have transport shenanigans?
yeah.
Does it have fight phase shenanigans?
Hmm.
Um, what levers can I pull here to impact the game rather than just I move my unit, I stage it, I
Mm,
find a shooting line, it moves, it doesn't advance and shoot, it just moves a flat distance,
yeah.
shoots at this range, does this damage. What levers can I pull to adjust that? And I am personally in the camp of I like more levers,
Yeah.
uh, more tools, more flexibility.
Yeah.
Um, and in my opinion, that allows for bigger skill expression because I mean, this is more widely known these days, but kind of the biggest skill expression in the game comes from the movement phase
Yep.
and the fight phase. Currently in 10th edition.
Yeah, the two phases you can move
Exactly,
in.
right.
Yeah.
Um, where movement phase, you're cutting angles, finding
Mhm.
positioning, prepping for charges, prepping for where your opponent can move,
Yep.
all these things. Playing around your opponent's tricks like react moves, Overwatch, all these things. Fight
Mhm.
phase, I mean, it's incredibly technical. There's
Yeah.
so many things, little tricks you can do, and you can still do most of the tricks that you were doing in Ninth Edition. It's
Yeah.
just harder to do them, basically.
Of course.
So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to flex into playing more like lower unit count armies at the moment. I mean, on one hand, RNZ South's kind of internal scrim that we're doing at the moment.
Yep.
I'm playing Drakari with 1,000,000 units. Uh, on the other hand, and movement shenanigans and all these things that I love.
Yep.
On the other hand, for a Team New Zealand practice thing that we're doing at the moment, I am playing Necrons.
Oh
But
yeah.
of course, with Catan out,
Yeah.
I'm playing basically like the Silent King to Catan and two Doomsday Arcs, and that's kind of just and Necrosaur Amintar,
Yeah.
and that's basically just the list. I mean, it's got some chaffy
Yeah.
bits and
Yeah. Of
pieces
course.
and tools,
Yeah.
but it's going to feel very different, and so that'll be a challenge for me.
Hmm.
And it's the list has some tricks, but
Yep.
it's not what I'm used to. It's not
Yeah.
I have 10 gargoyles to go OC bomb a thing or move block someone here.
Yeah. I remember the
Um,
first time when Tau went from Index to Codex and Kaon lost the move and shoot, like the strike and fade. And I was lost for a little bit because I'd only been playing Tau basically that the entirety of 10s up until then, just because like what I wanted to do. And yeah, it was just this thing. And I was like, well, how do I like, I had to like kind of completely replan how I play because I still wanted to play Cone because I still thought it was quite strong. But I was like, I can't play this interactive game plan anymore where I can like take something out, shoot you, and then go and hide again. Like I have to, play in a different way. I have to actually like my things have to be out after I shoot them, which I was like, I don't like this. So it was like trying to like, yeah, once you lose a tool, like trying to figure out in your gameplay how to like correct that. And then that really helped me now when I chop and change between different attachments, different factions, is you kind of figure out what tools do I have here and like how can I express those tools and use them to their best regard, right? Like you don't have to have all the tools. You're only going to have some. No one arm. If one army had all of them, like Gladius Task Force, you'd see it a lot, right? Yeah. So like it's one of those things like figure out what you have. Like World Eaters, you have the pile and shenanigans. You have all sorts of different things. You have this like quite strong speed elements there and like really good melee control. Whereas like you play Eldar and you have just really good like shooting control and like a lot of uninteractivity and just damage where you want it, like can really scalpel stuff out. So you use that speed element instead. It's really so you kind of got to like figure out what army you want to play, and then figure out what tools it has. It's really tricky to get to that stage, and I feel like that's like a really big level up for a lot of players is when they can go from one skill set, which they can be phenomenal at, but then you throw them into a different army and they actually like it looks like they've only been playing for 6 months or something, right? Like that's probably a bit
yeah.
extreme, but
No,
yeah.
I mean, I've seen it, right?
Yeah.
I've seen it in myself even. I
Mm,
go, oh goodness, I'm like years behind where I am
yeah.
just changing armies, and that's why I'm trying to branch out.
Yep.
Which now these days I don't feel that because I feel I've not only developed like a sense of the core, like not just mechanics of the game, but the flow of
Yeah.
game states.
Yeah.
Um, and the flow of scoring states and all these kinds of things. But also, yeah, like you say, how to utilize your army's like strengths
Yep.
and mitigate their weaknesses. Um, and it's like can you? Uh, I guess along that point, one of the big mistakes that I see, kind of people who are learning this competitive play and learning how to utilize the movement phase very well. Uh, a mistake that I see them making it, and it's a really hard mistake to see. So, and I used to do it all the time. Is how do I hide my entire army every turn?
Right.
How do
Yeah.
I hide like this? And what they'll do is they'll never put something in the open or very rarely,
Yep.
or oh, I know how to cut lines now and hide behind this
Mm.
terrain, so I'm going to do it. But what that actually does is that gimps their potential to crack back or that
Yep.
kind of thing, or can they get to further objectives, and it can cede board control.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas something that's quite valuable to learn is actually how what risk are you willing to take with with a certain unit. Is your unit built for that? So I mean, when you're playing Eldar, this hide everything thing is actually perfectly fine.
Yeah.
um, or
Yeah.
this kind of thing, within reason, right?
Yeah.
But if you're playing something like uh or like trading resources, like your units on the table are a resource to trade. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a big
Definitely.
part of like World Eaters gameplay, for example.
Yeah.
When you do an all in, I mean, you can trade a couple things like spawn or one squad of 8 bound or something
Yep.
early, and then when you do your all in, um, you're giving your resources. You might do a bunch of damage against a good player. They will mitigate that as much as possible, so they'll have gaps set up and all sorts of things, so you can't just like chain through their army and table them.
Yep.
And then they'll probably have the damage to crack back and kill most of your army. You can stat check a bit,
Hmm.
they did a bit, and then you don't have many resources left, and so you still have to play the game with those.
Yes. Yeah.
If that makes sense, like
Definitely.
um,
Yeah, it's like,
it's
yeah,
kind of
you
like
using the tools that you have, and like you have to sometimes be like, well, here's my hand. Like you kind of got to like, sometimes people are like, oh, like this is like a bluff piece. Sometimes you just have to call the bluff as well, right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, oh,
You can go
you didn't
okay.
respect me. Cool. Here's my army. So,
Yeah, and sometimes it's looking at like the flow of the game. Like often with
mhm.
Tyranids, I mean, we have lone ops out the
Mm,
wazoo, and
yeah,
this was something that like we identified really early in the prep for WTC 2023 was, hey, this is bang on the start of 10th. Lone op equals really good.
yeah, yeah,
So I took 3 lictors and Death Leap because it's all I could take, and I went,
yeah,
hey, here you go, guys,
yeah,
and it was good.
hmm,
But like you can put a resource forward. The opponent has to respond to it somehow, if it's causing a problem, like if it's threatening to tag something, if it's scoring you points,
yeah,
all these things. You have to. So then, what you think? Okay, well, what can they respond with? Is it going to be enough? So this is where, like, Death Leaper, for example, is very valuable because he's
mm,
a toughness 6 lone up with stealth, a 4 up invuln, 3 up armor sage, and 7 wounds.
yeah,
And he's 80 points, right? Which is pretty cheap for that.
hmm,
And he has fight first. So if someone charges 5 Space Marines, 5 JPI or something
hmm,
into him, um, especially if you're playing something like Invasion Fleet, you might have sustain against infantry. You have fight first. You have a bunch of AP2 2 damage attacks
yeah,
that hit on 2s and are sustained. Like
yep,
you might kill 3 to 4 JPI, and then the last one doesn't kill him,
yeah,
and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Um, or or for example, you might think, oh, but someone can get like the tip of a Gladiator Reaper staring at him within 12 inches, where I also can't crack back against the
yeah,
Reaper because I don't have something staged, or I can't get an angle on it because they've screened out another part of the board.
hmm,
Then you go, well, maybe it's not such a good idea to put this model here and
yeah,
just trade it
definitely,
away for
yep,
for maybe 3 points or something,
hmm,
um, because the opponent doesn't have to commit as much. And so you've got that's like how much risk can you take? Maybe if it wasn't, say, a Gladiator Reaper, uh,
yeah,
but
yeah,
say it was like, something more reasonable against infantry.
yeah.
Um,
Not one of the best tanks into infantry.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen in some cases like a Vindicator shoots an Oath Death Leaper and doesn't kill him, and sometimes that
Yep,
happens. But
yeah. -1 to hit
but
sucks sometimes. Like,
yeah, it really does. And 4
yeah.
up invuln is a big thing.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, the game would probably be healthier with very few 4 up invulns and
Yeah,
mainly 5 ups or 6 ups.
yeah. I wish
I
that
mean,
that
that's why they got
yeah,
rid of 3 ups mainly, right?
yeah, yeah. I wish that that the whole lethality of the game just dropped down a whole heap, because it feels like we're at a damage race now as everyone's like chasing to like get to the highest
Well,
damage point.
that's what happened with Ninth Edition, right?
Mm,
And that's when the lethality drop at the start of 10th Edition,
yeah.
except for some armies, Wraith Knights.
So, oh,
Uh,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I vividly remember WTC 2023 at Warmaster GT beforehand, and like 300 and something players, about 100 and like between 100 110 or so, so about a third of the field
Mm.
was Eldar, and only 2 of those players did not have a Wraith Knight.
Damn, Games Workshop getting
And
the sales in for sure.
yeah, and it was like, oh, okay, so play against it first rounds, play against it, and you just keep
Yeah,
playing against it. And
yeah.
um, but like other than that, the lethality of the game dropped a lot at the start of 10th,
Hmm.
um, and it's kind of kept that. Like if you look at the early 10th edition codices, bar Space Marines, because Space Marines get a lot of resources
Yeah,
across the edition.
of course.
But if you look at Tyranids, for example, I mean, this hits close to home, right? Is if you count the number of sources of AP -3 that you had in the Tyranid index, not the codex, because now we've got Norns that have
Yeah,
AP3 access, which is really cool. Thank you, Games Workshop. You could count that sources of AP3 on one hand.
yeah,
And some of them were like, oh, Carnifex Crushing Claws melee, and you weren't taking Carnifexes because they sucked.
yeah,
Or at least you weren't taking with the Crushing Claws.
yeah.
Or like the Bone Spur on the Hive Crone or something.
Right, yeah, these really very
Uh,
niche cases. Yeah.
and so basically it was like everything was AP2 or less. And it still generally is across Tyranids. This is why
Yep.
we see Exocrines a
Mm,
lot, because Exocrines are one of the best sources of AP3 in our codex.
yep.
This is why Rupture Cannon Tyranofexes, once Rupture Cannons got buffed,
Hmm.
really shone through, because it's like, hey, we have big gun that does massive damage and is AP4.
Yeah. Huge.
It's all well and good having, um, big gun that does massive damage if it's AP1 or 2.
Mm,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Like, oh, you have a 2-up save? Cool, take your 2-up save then, I guess.
yeah, like, okay.
Like, yeah.
And that's kind of a thing that, yeah, and I mean, Tyranids eventually got this melee strength buff as well,
Mm.
in
Oh, yeah.
Synapse,
Huge. Yep.
which is massive because most of our melee weapons are strength 9 and strength 10, one of the biggest breakpoints in the game.
Yep.
Um, and so we're all strength 9 trying to hit things, and it wasn't going very well.
Yeah. That's huge.
So these are all hurdles that you have to work through, and I mean, doing the maths of it, that's something I enjoy as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, since you're like a Tyranids expert, let's kind of finish this interview off with, do you have any kind of like interesting things you would say to other Tyranids players? Obviously, we're getting to the end of an edition, but as you said, like a
yeah,
lot of the Tyranids stuff kind of goes through editions. Is there any advice you would give to Tyranids players that that you think is where to start? It doesn't even have to be detachments. Like what kind of play styles, what anything that you kind of think that could be like really good information to start off, or to dive into with Tyranids.
yeah. I mean, I guess I'll kind of go in this in kind of two parts: what is currently in 10th edition, and
Mm-hmm.
also like general Tyranid stuff that might bleed over into another edition.
Yeah, of
Um, I might start with the bleed over stuff.
course.
In At the start of most editions, something you want to look at is like what does the Biovore do?
Yep.
uh, that creature has been uh, kind of a linchpin of many Tyranid lists over the years. And or what do Hive Tyrants do? And are they worth it?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, I mean, I mean, it's classic fit, almost fits with the lore, right? You have a Hive Tyrant as the kind of center of a swarm. Um, but a lot of Tyranid builds revolve around what kind of Hive Tyrant are you taking? How many
Mm-hmm.
Hive Tyrants are you taking? How does that shape your list?
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, that's become less so at the moment, because Tyranids have had a few buffs
Yep.
across this edition, which have been nice. But in previous editions, it was like, you know, we had in ninth edition, we had bodyguarded Hive Tyrants
Mm-hmm.
doing things. And in 8th edition, we had Swarmlord with the double move.
Yeah.
Um, and in 7th edition, we had Flyer and Spam. And Hive
Yeah.
Tyrants and Biovores tend to be kind of the center of this. And then you can
Yeah.
start branching out and looking at other units.
Mm-hmm.
General strategy wise, if you're a Tyranid player, don't expect, unless you're using a very specific kind of build that you've built to do damage against a specific target. In general, there've been a few anomalies throughout the years. ninth edition Tyranids. Uh, um, like the Tyranid Codex specifically,
Yeah.
and Mortal Wound spam, and um, don't expect to do that much damage.
Yeah.
Expect to play the game as a resource exchanging, objective controlling, move blocking army.
Yeah.
Um, and learn how to manipulate your resources to kind of match, you know, uh, to kind of justify your opponent's damage.
Mm.
Why can you? We're never going to be Space Marines with all the toolkits. We're never going to be Eldar with all the like fast, super fast damage. Sometimes we have cases where that exists, like
Mhm.
or moving Gene Stealers previously, or
Yep.
Flyrants, or all these things. They do exist in pockets,
Hmm.
but in general, expect to be a movement control army. And I mean, that's where Tyranids have really shined. In 10th edition currently, um, there are a few good builds around. Um, for singles, like just a straight invasion fleet list with like a few monsters and some battle line units,
Yep.
and a Hive Tyrant will basically not do you wrong.
Mm.
Maybe a Norn or two if you're feeling it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just good.
Hmm.
And Subterranean Assault, Tunnel Bugs, also very, very good if you're keen on a little more damage, a little less tankiness, but more skill expression.
Yep.
Because one of the weaknesses that Tyranids have in like Invasion Fleet, for example, is just being tagged. We don't have a good um, like our hardest setting melee units. Now that we've got new Raveners, it's a little different.
Hmm.
But even then, our hardest hitting melee units are still quite squishy. Gene
Yeah.
Stealers, Raveners, Warriors, they're still 4-up saves at best. And like toughness 5 and 3 wounds doesn't really do much for you these days when most of the meta is teched for killing Victrix.
Yeah.
And and space
Definitely.
anything that kills Space Marines will kill Tyranids.
Yes.
Um, it's not often that we get something that can tank.
Hmm.
Tyrannifexes, big
Yep.
exception. Land Raider with a blank, basically,
Yep.
without AOC access, but like they're cheaper.
Yeah.
So that's very good. And 5-up Field of Pain and Invasion Fleet is very valuable for that and this
Yep.
kind of thing. Um, there are some wackier builds you can go into at the moment, like the kind of 80 Termagants, 30 Gene Stealers kind of build with a Turvagon and some shooting back up. Or
Yep.
um, I've heard rumors of a Subterranean Assault Harridan build.
Woohoo.
Uh,
I saw that one at an event recently, didn't it?
yes, it did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rowan, you legend. Um,
Absolutely mad.
uh, I love Rowan, and like he's if something wacky's going to come out of it, he's going to be all over it.
Yeah.
No, so that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Basically, 10th edition Tyranids, as they currently stand, you are not playing to kill your opponent completely most of the time. Sometimes you are,
Yep.
but that's on a very limited case by case basis. Most of
Mhm.
the time, you're looking to use your lone ops and your battle line units to create primary control. So set up your battle line units to go flip your opponent's natural
Mhm.
expansion objective, um, to push past and move block down the center, to use your lone ops to bait, because lictors are 60 points and they're fight first lone op, right?
Yeah.
Sure, they've only got a 4-up armor save, but like they're still toughness 6. They're not easy to get rid of.
Yeah.
Um, you can use those to great advantage to bait out bad trades from your opponents as long as you put them in the right places. You just got to be careful that you're not just putting it in the middle where someone can, like I said before, just like tip a gladiator reaper onto it and shoot
Yeah.
it without any punishment.
Definitely.
Um, so we're very good at that, and often a core strategy that I use when I'm not playing with Norns. Norns shapes your game quite differently,
Hmm.
because you kind of just go, Norn run to objective, and then I push out from there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
there's a lot more nuance to it than that,
Sure.
um, but generally it's like, well, okay, can I have a lone op near my natural expansion? What's the advantage? Can I have a lictor starting near the middle to block area denial that can then safely move back and forth in the middle of the field for as long as possible?
Hmm.
What have I got in reserve to make sure my opponent has to screen their backfield? And I mean, good opponents will manage to screen out a spore mine as well.
Yeah.
some opponents, sometimes armies go, well, actually, you can have your spawn mine in my backfield. It doesn't matter, and I'm just going to full push you. And sometimes Tyranids struggle with that.
Yep.
Um, but at least you're scoring points.
Yeah.
So this is where you got to think about how can you punish that? How can you punish the opponent not being able to do everything at once? Um,
Yep.
uh, and like our monsters are pretty tanky, so like you can quite often just like put an Crone with access to feel no pain in the open in front of 1 or 2 damage threats, and it'll probably survive, depending on the threats, of
Yep.
course.
Yep.
But this kind of thing where you don't need to. Tyranids aren't really an all-in kind of army, except in Subterranean. That's a
Yeah.
different beast.
Yep.
Um, we're more of an attrition, and then set up for a good shadow turn, shadow in the warp to try and deny 5 points of primary if you can, or deny a critical, like this is the turn where I'm charging with things,
Yeah.
or I really don't need the opponent to have smoke and AOC on this. Please get battle shocked.
Yeah.
I can't have them have fight on death if I'm playing against Gladius, or don't want the reactive move, or
Yep.
something like that. If you can battle shock Victrix squads, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Tyranids have abundance of damage 3, which is quite nice. Now
Yep.
that they're down to 3 wins,
Mm-hmm.
does make us actually possibly okay into that.
Yep.
Um,
Nice.
uh, but you can still be like outmaneuvered.
Yes. Yeah. You
Uh,
still there's still like like a damage and durability checks, and
yeah,
Tyranids are on a fine line when it comes to both. Like if you can pass the durability that Tyranids can offer, which is substantial, but it is definitely passable because knights are in the meta as well. At some point,
yeah.
so like if you can shoot knights and kill them, you can
And I
probably
mean, our
kill.
monsters don't have invulns either than Hive Tyrant and Norns,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. So like if you can push through that, and especially with like Katana in the meta right now, so there's more Melter and more stuff like that coming out, then they can kind of struggle a little, which is then you go back to those fundamentals. And basically, what I gathered from what you said is like if you're playing Tyranids, practice your fundamentals, flipping primary, move blocking, controlling the board. All these things are just great fundamentals to have, and you have probably some of the best access to it in any
Yes.
codex with Tyranids. With like Gargoyle is just data sheet, absolutely nuts.
I mean, yeah, exactly, right? Like, Gargoyles, they've gone up and they've managed to get all the way up to 85 points.
Yeah.
I would still take a squad at 100,
Yep.
probably. Um,
Yep.
but like, there's a lot of flicks. The Tyranids, like you say, just have so many tools to do those fundamental things, to play the game how like honest Warhammer is meant to be played.
Mhm.
Um, uh, without like reactive moves and jank,
Yep.
which I mean some Tyranid stuff has.
Yep.
But for example, there are some tools that Tyranids just don't have. Like for example, sticky objectives
Mhm.
that exists in one place in the Codex, and it's in Assimilation Swarm.
Good.
Oh no, sorry, no, that's a lie. It now exists in Warrior Bioform Onslaught.
Oh
So,
yeah.
oh yes,
Yeah, the two
the two
niches.
best attachments.
Yeah, yeah.
No. Uh, but like things like that, or
Yep.
and like our whole Battle Shocks mechanic is cute,
Mm.
but it also suffers from the being early 10th thing of a lot of Battle Shocks, like forced Battle Shocks these days, are just always at -1.
Yep.
Um, basically, any of the new ones are, take a Battle Shock at -1. You look at Neurolictors. Not saying Neurolictors are bad; they're very good. They went down
Mhm.
in points, very good. But that's not at -1.
Yep.
We got the extra Synapse if you're in Synapse bonus for Shadow and the Warp for an extra -1.
Yep.
Very helpful, exceedingly helpful.
Mhm.
But it means you have to set that up.
Yep.
And also in 10th edition, contrary to I guess not really popular belief, but maybe belief among newer players is you don't need to play around Synapse that much.
Mm.
You do a bit. It's nice to have everything in Synapse, but it's not like your whole army has to be in Synapse or your army falls apart.
Yeah.
Um, you can, with a Neurotyrant around, you can just chuck out a Synapse token 18 inches away twice a turn, and you go run off, do your thing.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, an Invasion Fleet is a little different because everything runs off Synapse, similarly
Yeah.
with Synaptic Nexus, but like even then, um, you can get away with fewer Synapse pieces than
Yes. Yep.
previous editions.
Mhm.
Um, sure, you're Leadership 8, but the good thing about Leadership 8 is that it can't be modified past 8.
Yeah. So like, you're at the worst.
So yeah, exactly. Like everyone's like, oh, this is -1 leadership and -1 to the test, so it's -2. And I'm like, no, it's just -1. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then when you are in Synapse, your 3d6 is like 7 up with 3d6 leadership is about leadership 4.5,
Yeah,
which is
it's
better
very
than
consistent.
anything else.
Yeah.
Now that Greyfax is not leadership 4 anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
um, but like, it's it's very, very consistent.
Mhm.
Sometimes it will fail, but you get
Yeah.
used to that. Yeah, basically, biggest things are use your battle line. Use your
Yeah.
battle line units. This is why Monster Mash is, I mean, especially now with Catan coming into the meta, with like kind of vehicle Space Marine lists existing again,
Mhm.
um, with like big greater demons running around of various forms. I've heard tell of Taliban summoners as
Yeah.
well. um, um, your monsters are just not going to cut it as like if they are the front line and everything in your army, because
Yeah.
people will have tech for it. Your battle line back to basics. It's the best thing about Tyranids is we've always had flexibility. We
Mhm.
can pivot more to monsters. We can go to the medium infantry. We can go to the small infantry.
Yep.
Um, and we have flexibility between detachments as well, which is very cool. Like our detachments aren't like standalone, not great, except for subterranean assaults. Potentially, if put on most other factions, would be the best detachment in the game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, just reroll ones army
Reroll
wide
ones
is
to hit.
pretty good.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. We needed that to have a detachment that has a damage boost.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
because the invasion fleet one sustained against infantry or swarms.
Mm.
The amount of times I've shot at like chaos spawn and be like, oh yeah, I'll be fine with an exocrine, and then realized halfway through the activation, oh shit, it's a beast. Um,
Yeah.
and I go, no, I don't get sustain here. Okay, this is maybe more squiffy. Not saying I do that all the time. I usually just remember beforehand and plan
Yeah.
ahead. But
I understand.
I've had it happen a couple times where I go, oh wait, what? Oh yeah, I'm not.
Mm.
Um, it's not as consistent.
Yep.
Um, and so this is like the optimal time right now for Tyranids to experiment.
Mhm.
Like we're heading to the end of an edition. That's fine. We were right at the start of the edition. We've had a few gifts throughout the edition.
Yep.
Now is the time to experiment, try different playstyles within Tyranids. If you're just starting with Tyranids, just like pick something you want to play that's interesting and play it. Like if you're interested in Horde, try Horde.
Mm.
Unending Swarm got nerfed into the ground, but you can still play Horde and like Invasion Fleet. You can still play it in Unending Swarm. It's just not as good.
Yep.
Um, uh, you can play like Medium Bugs. I think you can technically you can make a legal Tyranid list with 3 winged Tyranid primes, 72 Tyranid warriors, and a Biovore, and that's and with 3 enhancements, that's 1,995 points.
Hell yeah.
Um, and that's legal. Uh, you could do that.
Yeah.
They're very big bases, and it's pain in
Yeah.
the bum. But
But yeah,
um,
there's a lot of options you can take, and there's I think a lot of skill expression. I find like armies like Tyranids, often like even orcs and stuff like that. A few of the Xenos armies, they actually have a lot more skill expression throughout an entire edition than say like Space Marines or something. Whereas they'll kind of go through these huge peaks of being so strong, and then they'll just completely plummet when they get nerfed. Whereas like even when like Tyranids or orcs get like hit a little bit, often the skill expression is still there. It's just you might have to go through an extra hoop or something, or there might be, you might have to tweak your list a little bit, build it slightly differently. Like when Ending Swarm got nerfed. So like, oh, let's try port it over to Invasion Fleet. And then, like I was at Eric Lathuris, who just like, cool, this is actually, I think, maybe better, and he just like played that and played it really well, like there's ways to adapt it. Whereas, yeah, I think a lot of other factions don't have that kind of um fortitude behind them, where it's like there's like a lot of different options you can actually take. None of the options are super exciting and super shiny, but all of them are actually fine, which is I think where it gets really tough. It's like, people aren't talking and being like, oh, this is really strong, but it's like they're actually all like decent.
Yeah, they're fine, and a lot of people don't actually know what Tyranids do, which
Mm.
is
Yeah, fair.
extra bonus
Yeah.
because information wins games.
Yeah.
Um, but like, I guess to kind of wrap up what we're like
Yeah.
the 10th edition Tyranids idea here, and like what to do. Um, Across 10th edition, Tyranids have had ups and downs. In ninth edition, obviously, when that codex came out, we were completely busted.
Mm.
Like ridiculously broken stuff in there, and they got nerfed pretty quickly. Um, but like, it's very rare that times like that occur with Tyranids. But when they do, when there's something that we can find that can be broken, the Tyranid faction experts will find it and
Mm.
will build these cool lists and
Yeah.
have all these cool ideas, like seven flyrants back in
Hell yeah.
seventh edition. Not that you can do that ever,
Yeah.
but
Mhm. You could
this
technically take 7 Hive Tyrants kind of now. Swarm Lord, 3
you
winged,
can
3 foot.
you can
Yeah.
you could and three Nero tyrants
Oh,
and some
hell
tyrants.
yeah.
No, oh, that reminds me. One of my favorite things with Tyranids is that they have the highest OC unit in the game.
Is it the Nord?
Um, No, 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 no. Oh, because you can have a unit with more OC than a
Oh,
Nord.
yeah. Sorry.
Look
I
at
was thinking
Necron
individual
Warriors.
model. Okay. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. Unit,
Yeah.
unit. I mean, you look at like Awakened, well, a Necron Warriors with a command barge nearby, and it's like 64 with the 2 characters,
Yeah.
right? That's a lot of OC, right?
Hmm.
Nah, man. There's an enhancement in Crusher Stampede uh, that gives you +2 OC to models in your unit if your unit is at full strength.
Okay.
Um, which is cool when you add it to, a Hive Tyrant, go up to OC5. It's like really
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. Or you, uh, oh, sorry, I guess actually it's just +2 OC. But there's also when we got the Crusher Stampede update,
Mm.
um, when they made Crusher Stampede actually like viable, they added the rule that was when your unit is at full strength, when it's a monster unit, you get +2 OC to models in that unit.
Yes.
Sorry, that's what I was thinking of. And then I was
Yeah.
thinking of Ominous Presence, which is +3 OC.
Right.
So, you know, takes a Tyrannifex to OC7 when it's
Hmm.
full strength. That's like really cool.
Hmm.
Makes your opponent want to damage it, so then you get +1 to hit and you're happy. Right?
Hmm.
Um, if you attach a Neuro Tyrant to 22 Neurogaunts, that's a monster unit. Um, Neuro Tyrant is base 3 OC, and
Hmm.
then your Neurogaunts all get +2 OC while it's full strength. So as soon as you lose one Neurogaunt, it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have 66 +5 for the Neuro Tyrant, +3. That takes you to 74 OC,
It's
which I
madness.
believe is still the highest
Yeah.
in the game. Correct me if I'm wrong somewhere. But
Yeah.
it's very brief because as soon as you lose one Eurogaunt, it's all over.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny.
Oh, very
But
cool.
like there's flex between things as Tyranid players. People doom and gloom about Tyranids on the internet. Don't look at Tyranid Discord or the Tyranid Facebook groups. It's a lot of it is doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Maybe get some ideas from there, but
Hmm.
um, complaining, oh, we're a 43% win rate army. Cry, cry, cry. Yeah, 10th edition, we've had a lot of newer players playing Tyranids
Yeah.
because it was in the starter box, right?
Hmm.
And also over COVID, a lot of people picked up Warhammer.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so a lot of people picked up things to paint. And what do? You get a starter box. Hey, look, I like this army. It's not Space Marines. You get the split. Um,
Yeah.
uh, but the better players tend to still do decently well, even if we're not always winning
Hmm.
tournaments. We're always doing well and
Yeah.
going X and one at tournaments or
Yeah.
whatever everywhere, all over the world. And there are some really great minds always thinking up different things. Um, I mean, Alex McDougall, and I mean John Lennon always has ideas,
Yeah.
and um,
It's like
Tyler
Sam Pope has some
Bortel and
great stuff as
Sam
well.
Pope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Pope's been going crazy with some great Tyranid stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, Tyler Bortel and Eric Lathoris and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, so there's great people to go out there and like watch and like, learn from as well. But at the same time, there's so much to learn from just playing your games as well and just like putting the models on the table, getting those reps in, and you will get those better fundamentals. You'll get better at the game. And yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Like,
yeah,
I just,
Tyranids just play the fundamentals well.
yeah, yeah,
They play the fundamentals well with a couple of little tricks here and there.
yep,
Um, and often with like a stat line that people aren't used to.
yeah, no, definitely. Oh, very cool. Well, do you have anything else to say to the good people out there? Otherwise, we might call this one quits. We've been just over an hour, so
Yeah.
been good.
Well, no, not really. I just wanted to say thank you. Like
Hey,
this is
cool.
really cool. I wanted to say like uh, th- thanks to all the people who are like working towards making the New Zealand team better and the New Zealand community better.
Yeah,
Um, like Tactical Chile up in Auckland, and I mean Team Kraken have done heaps over the years, and
yeah,
we've got, I mean, all the applicants this year are great, and we're really uh, putting a lot of progress in place.
yeah.
Um,
We also got the
and we're
competitive
very
society as well. That's probably a good thing to add some
yes, that's right. Yeah,
structure, which is
thank you,
huge.
Jonty,
Yep.
for setting that up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, having that structure has been really, 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 really good.
Yes. Yeah.
It's that's the way forward, right?
Yeah.
It's we build structure, and then everyone has fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And yeah,
that's the
it
key
makes
thing.
everyone easy. There's something to follow, and we can always alter it. We can always,
Yeah,
change it.
yeah.
But like, as long as we have something to start from, I think that was the main thing. Is we knew it wasn't going to be perfect when we get started, but better to have something than nothing, and that
And
was where we needed to go.
and it gives people peace of mind that there's not just going to be like a Warhammer Boys Club all over in this corner.
Exactly.
Not just like for a New Zealand team or whatever, but
Yep.
like
For whatever. Yep.
for any tournaments, any
Mhm.
club things. It's I mean it's like globalization, but
Yeah.
Warhammer. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean that's the I think overall it's positive. So
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah,
Exactly.
thank you, Chris. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me on.
No, thank you for coming. I really appreciate you spending your evening just talking to me about 40k and yourself. It's always a weird thing talking about yourself.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, so really appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time. And yeah, otherwise, there will be linked the Kia interview that I did a few months ago now. At the end of this video. Otherwise, I will catch everyone next time.
big ups. Yeah.
Bye.